Yeah. And then, they said, no, he will not go to school anymore. From now on, he will stay at home. And then we understood and learned how he was becoming so mischievous to show them that, he has to go to school. And, he was eating like, on a pile of broken pots. He was getting dirty and all this. I hope you remember still. And then finally, everybody was saying, why are you doing this to him? He has to go to school. Then they finally accepted, and then he, he went back to school. He was very happy. And then he started to show how smart he is, even to his teacher. And really, he was very smart. And he was also, while growing up a little bit, showing everybody, defeating everybody with argument. And then, then when he grew up, he traveled to some holy places, and then when he came back, always there was always pastime with Ganga. We know that Ganga was a bit, it was a bit painful for her because she always thought that, oh, Yamuna is very lucky. Krishna always, when Krishna appeared on earth, Krishna was always playing in Yamuna water. Many pastime happened near Yamuna, and Ganga Devi was very sad about this. And then in this incarnation, in Chaitanya Lila, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like now, is compensating for that. And from morning to evening, every time he go to the Ganges. And we also know one day he was getting ready to go for doing an arati for Ganga, and the ingredient was not ready, and then he was mad, and he started breaking everything in the house, the pots, the dough, many things. And then they did not even have food to eat. And we the anger of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is difficult to understand this pastime, but it was like that. And then Sachimata was saying, but what will we eat? He said, don't worry. And then we find out that he was coming back home with a piece of gold. And then Sachimata was asking, oh, where did he get that? I hope he did not, steal that from some places. And then, of course, Sachimata will exchange it for some Lakshmi. And then like this, they will buy the groceries, as we say. And like this, it was going. And then one day, while he was going to the Ganga, he met, he saw actually Lakshmi Priya. They made eyes contact. And, he did not say anything. But while coming home, already there was somebody who make matchmaking, came home, already started to speak with Sachimata. And then when Nimai Pandit came back home, Sachimata asked, somebody came to make a proposal, but I declined it. I know you're going to school, you better study. And then he said, why? Then Sachimata understood that, oh, I would have never thought that Nimai would be interested. Then he immediately called this matchmaker, and then the matchmaker was very happy. Then he goes back to Vishnu Priya's father to make the arrangement, and then the wedding was done. And we understood that also there, Lakshmi Priya's father, Vishnu Priya's father, was saying, they don't have a lot of thing to give as Kanyadan. And then he gave some, I think, 5 pieces of some fruit. I forget the name. That was the dowry. And then now, after getting married, now in this chapter, Ishwara Puri will come in their village, and then they will have some exchange. Still, Nimai Pandit was challenging everybody. When somebody will walk on this side of the road, when they saw Nimai Pandit coming, they will cross the road, they will go on the other side of the road, especially Srivas, Mukunda, and all that, they would, escape, as we say, so that they don't confront him in argument. And they were always thinking, oh, he's a great, he's a great pandit, like learned person. If only he become a devotee of Krishna, everybody will be convinced. Actually, this is what will happen. And now Ishwarapuri came in incognito, and of course, how can he hide his feeling for Krishna? As soon as he started to hear, the wonderful song from Mukunda, his heart started to melt, and he already manifests as a, the mood of a great devotee. Then they knew that he was a great devotee. Okay, now we'll continue from where we left. It was page 153, text 101. And if somebody want to read, then we can continue. Or if you want to add anything, just to add, you can go ahead, add, or we can read.
I can read, Prabhu. Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. पढ़िया पढ़िया ठाकुर संध्या काले ईश्वर पुरी रे नमस्कारी बारे चले. After studying and teaching, the Lord went in the evening to offer his obeisances to Ishwarapuri. Prabhu dekhe Sri Ishwarapuri hasita, Prabhu he na jane na tabu bara parita. Ishwarapuri was happy to see Nimai, and though he did not know him as the Supreme Lord, he still had love for him. Asiya bole na tumi parama pandita, ami puniti kariyechi Krishna charita. Ishwarapuri smiled and said, "You are a big scholar. I have written a book about a characteristic of Lord Krishna. Sakala baliba kotha thaka kona dosa ihate amara bara parama santosa. I would be most satisfied if you would tell me whatever there is any fault in it." Prabhu bole bhakta vakya Krishna varana ihate ye dosa dekhe se papi jana. The Lord replied, "Whoever finds fault in a devotee's description of Lord Krishna is a sinful person." Bhaktera kavita ye te mate kena naya sarvatha Krishna re priti tahite nischaya. Krishna is certainly pleased with his devotees' poetry, even though it is imperfectly composed. Wow. Murkha bole Vishnave bole dhira dui vakya parigraha kare Krishna vira. An uneducated person may chant Vishnaya, while a sober person will chant the proper form Vishnave. But the Supreme Lord Krishna will accept both forms when they are chanted with devotion. The Lord Krishna, a pandit expert in correct language, and someone ignorant of correct language are both equal. Of the two, Krishna bestows more mercy on the one who has more enthusiasm for the service of Krishna, the omniscient super soul of every living entity, is not guilty or of the fault of partiality. So-called learned persons devoid of devotion proudly consider themselves learned as they reveal their foolishness by pointing out fault in the transcendental language of the pure devotees. The Supreme Lord and Master of Saraswati confirm the foolishness of the so-called learned offender who are envious of the devotees at every step. Thus, their pride in learning in diminished due to the absence of realizations of the absolute truth. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, they, as the fourth mundane knowledge of sense enjoyment, this is the cause of their desire and fall down. Oh, this is fall down, yes. Text Murkhovaditi Vishnaya Dhiro Vaditi Vishnave Ubayos tu Samam Punyam Bhavagrihi Janardhana. At the time of offering obeisances to Lord Vishnu, a foolish person chant Vishnaya Namaha. This is the improper due to faulty grammar. And a learned person chant Vishnave Namaha. This is the correct form. But both achieve equal IT by their offering of obeisances because Lord Sri Janardhana sees the sentiment of the living being. In other words, he sees the degree of devotion, or in other words, he awards the results. Accordingly, he does not see one foolishness or intelligence. Ihate ye dosa dekhe tahara se dosa bhaktare varnana matra krishnara santosa. One who finds fault with a devotee in himself at fault. For the devotees, descriptions are meant only for the pleasure of Krishna. Atava tomara se premare varana ithe dusi beka kon sahasika jana. Therefore, who will dare find fault with your devotional description of Krishna's pastime? Shuniye Ishvara Puri Prabhura Uttara Amaratal Sinchita Hela Sarva Kalevara. Hearing Nimai's replies was like a shower of nectar on the body of Ishwarapuri. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. You want to say something?
No, Prabhu, you explain. Prabhu, you can explain.
Okay, here we can see that initially, when Ishwarapuri came, he understood that Nimai Pandit is a great scholar, and now he wrote a book, and he wanted Nimai to find out whether there is some mistake in the book. Without any challenge, the name is Krishna Lilamrita. And what happened is Nimai said, no, whatever you wrote should be good because you are a great devotee. That means it should be good. But still, Ishwarapuri wanted him to write, you will see. But something very important that we see in this verse, the merciful nature of Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's just like when a mother or a father or anyone see a little baby, just do like this. like this. They don't even know how to talk, but they just raise their hand like that, say mum, like this. But what does that mean? Mum. Or you extend your arm. Like for somebody that come from a different planet, maybe they don't understand. But for somebody who is a person with a heart, if somebody doesn't know how to talk, he's saying like this, you know exactly what the person is saying. This is when you have love in your heart. You will feel the love from somebody else without even saying any word, you know. Now, if we human being were like this, we can understand this sometime. Mostly mother and son and daughter, they have this reciprocation. Mother can feel what the son or daughter is saying, or the baby is saying. But we don't feel that for other people. Okay? This is why sometimes we should have this compassionate nature toward every living entity. This is what we have to develop. Now, in this verse, Chaitanya Prabhu is saying, even though the word is mispronounced, but the most important thing is the devotion, the way, the expression of love in this word, you know. And Krishna understands exactly what you mean. And now, if there is a big pandit, will start to say, oh, this is not the way you have to say this. This is not the way you have to pronounce it. You know, like trying to correct some person, especially people from different country or from not very educated background. Sometimes they don't pronounce very well. But then if somebody who has done, you know, is very well educated and is starting to judge these people, and, you know, then this is bad. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying this here in this verse, that means we should learn from that. We should not think about somebody who is mispronouncing something or is saying something wrong. But when we see these people, they are very enthusiastic and is expressing their with love, with a lot of love. Krishna understand. Even though we can't understand, forget it. We don't understand, but Krishna understand. We're not Krishna. We should feel like that. But this is their business with Krishna. We should not get in between. Okay? And then now we'll see how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will do, you know, when Ishwara Puri will stress, yes, you still have to correct me if there's any mistake. Okay, let's continue from 112. Somebody else?
I can read through.
Okay.
पुनः हसी बोले ना तुम्हारा दोसा नाई अवश्य बोली बा दोसे थाके ये थानी. He then smiled and said, you will not be at fault, but you must tell me if there is any error in the book. Ei mata pratidina prabhutana sange vichara kare na dui chari dandarange. Thereafter, Nimai would daily sit with Vishwarapuri for 1 or 2 hours to discuss his book. Ekadina prabhutana kavita suniya hasi dushi lena dhatu na lage baliya. Prabhu bole dhatu atma ne padi naya baliya chalila prabhu apana alaya. Ishwara puriyo sarve shastrete pandita vidya rasa vichare obada harashita. Prabhu gele sai dhatu kare na vichara सिद्धांत करे ना तनी अशेष प्रकारा सेई धातु करे ना आत्मने पाड़ी नामा आराधीने प्रभु गेले करे ना व्याख्यान ये धातु परस्मै पदी बली गेला तुमी ताहा ए साधिलून आत्मने पाड़ी आमी. After hearing his poetry one day, the Lord smiled and said, the verb root of this sentence is incorrect. The Atmane Pari form should not be used here. After saying this, the Lord returned home. Ishwarapuri was a learned scholar in the scriptures, and he enjoyed analyzing scholastic topics. After Nimai left, Ishwarapuri considered the verb root that he had used and came to a conclusion from many different angles. He left the verb in its Atmanepadi form. When Nimai came the next day, he explained, I have concluded that the verb that you said yesterday should be Parasmaipadi, should remain Atmanepadi. Dhatus are verb roots that indicate actions. When mixed with the 10 inflective classes beginning with lat, they produce the various tenses and moods. Considering each verb in the 3 persons and 3 numbers result in 9 forms for each tense and mood. Some of these roots are Atmanepadi and some are Parasmaipadi, and apart from these, some are Ubhayapadi. The Parasmaipadi roots have 90 forms, and there are the same number of Atmanepadi forms. Thus, altogether, there are 180 forms of these 2 kinds of roots. Since Nimai Pandit said that the form of the root in the verb spoken by Ishwarapuri was not Atmanepadi, Ishwarapuripad concluded that according to grammar, the form of the root was Ubhayapadi. Therefore, there was no fault in using the Atmanepadi form of the root. Vyakhyana suniya prabhu parama santosha bhritiya jaya nimitta nadena aradosha. When the Lord heard his explanation, he was most satisfied with his servant's victory, and he did not find any further fault. Haribol. So, yeah, Prabhu, it's straightforward that both Nimai Pandit and Ishwarapuri used to study that book for 1 hour or 2 hours every day. And one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu found an error in the root form of the verb, saying the Atmanepadi form should not have been used. Ishwarapuri contemplated on it and he looked at it from very different angles. And then the next day, when he met Nimai Pandit, he said, no, it is accurate. And he gave the justification. I do not understand all this technicalities, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased with his explanation. I did not read anywhere that anybody was able to defeat him so far, but he was, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied that Ishwarapuri was right and he did not find any further fault. So even though Ishwarapuri is going to be a spiritual master, he's actually a servant and he's happy with his servant's victory. That's all, Prabhu.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah. Let's continue. I think this is very technical, the grammar. We don't understand anything in this, Atmanepadi and Parasmaipadi. Difficult. And anyway, we'll just move on. Somebody else want to read? I think there's nobody else. I think I'll read myself then. Okay, from text 121, no? Sarvekala Prabhu Bhadayena Brite Jaya Etenaha Sadbhava Sakale Venikaya. The Vedas declare that the Lord by nature always expands his devotees' glories by making them victorious. Imata Katadhina Vidyarasarange Achila Ishwarapuri Gorangadra Sange. In this way, Ishwarapuri passed a few months enjoying a scholastic pastime with Sri Gora Chandra.
Can I read? I was on mute. I couldn't say I am going to read. Can I continue? If you don't mind. Okay. Bhakti rase chanchala ekatra nahe sthiti paryatane chali lapa vitrakari krishiti. Ishwarapuri, however, would not remain in one place due to the restless nature of his ecstatic love. He just went on pilgrimage to purify the earth. Commentary. After purifying the town of Navadvip, Sri Ishwara Puripad went elsewhere for the service of Krishna. Such traveling to different places by the Mahabhagavad is considered restlessness by fools. But those who have strong enthusiasm for serving Krishna are not solicitors of material objects for sense gratification like the ordinary materialistic fools. ये सुनाए ईश्वरा पुरीरा पुण्य कथा ताना वासा हया कृष्णा pada padma yatha. Whoever hears the auspicious topics about Sri Ishwara Puri lives at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Yata prena madhavanda puri rasarire santoshe dilena sabha Ishwara Puri re peya gurura prema Krishnera prasade Brahmena Ishwara Puri Ati Nirvirodhe. Sri Madhavendra Puri happily gave the complete treasure of his ecstatic love to Sri Ishwara Puri. By the mercy of Krishna, Sri Ishwara Puri obtained love of God from his spiritual master, so he traveled free from all anxieties. A description of Sri Ishwara Puri Pada, respectful and unalloyed service to his spiritual master, Sri Madhavendra Puri Pad, and the attainment of his mercy is found in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila 8.26 to 30. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Chanda Jana Vrindavana Dasa Tachu Pada Yuge Ganam. Accepting Shri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as his life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of the lotus feet. This ends the English translation of the Gaudiya Bhashya commentary on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikanda, chapter 11, entitled Meeting with Ishwara Puri.
Want to say anything?
It ends here, or there's another.
So you want to say anything?
No, I'm just how we got the mercy of this of his guru.
Yeah. Yes. And also now we understood also, we heard about it, there are how we get the mercy of traveling sannyasis. Because we know that especially pure devotees, they carry, nobody has Paramatma in their heart. That means Krishna is already there. Just hold on. Yeah. Krishna is already in everybody's heart. And now, these pure devotees, they carry Krishna in a different way in their heart. Because we saw that even Srila Prabhupada, when he left Vrindavan, but he brought Vrindavan with him wherever he goes. Same way here, and not only carry and give to person who are eligible. Actually, there is no restriction in giving, but what happened is the proper recipient will take it. Just like we say there's a proverb, we can take the horse to the fountain, but we cannot force the horse to drink the water from the fountain. That means you can be pouring water on somebody, but if somebody is even thirsty, but he is not drinking the water, how will you force? Even if you push it in somebody's mouth, they can still vomit it. It has to be the proper recipient as well. but the mercy is given to everybody. This is also we learn in Srimad Bhagavatam how Narad Muni as a child, he became a great devotee. Even he became we say the spaceman. He cannot stay in one place and he's traveling all the time. And he's a great devotee. Also, he's a giver of bhakti, you know. And how he became like this is only by the recipient. He became a recipient of the mercy of traveling sannyasi, traveling devotees. That's why, for example, it's important, whoever can accommodate devotees in their house, serve them properly, this is how we'll get their mercy as well. And, anyway, every devotee has something to give. We're not big or small devotee. Of course, few devotees, they shower a lot of mercy, but serving devotees is the mission and duty of other devotees. Because Krishna say that those who consider me, come to me directly is not my devotees. But those who serve my devotees is my devotees. This is what is important. Okay, now we'll go into the 12th chapter and we'll start reading the summary. I think it's my turn. Nobody there?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yeah, me too. I can read.
Oh, Neha is there? I see Neha is there.
Yeah, she is running around.
Okay. Okay, it's long this. Maybe at each of us we read a paragraph. Like this it goes. If the paragraph has only few lines, then you go with the second paragraph. If the paragraph is big, then we go. Okay, Prabhu, you start with the Kalpana Mataji was saying.
Yeah, Kalpana Mataji, you start and then I can take over when you're done.
I can read this.
Okay, all right, okay. So
Can I?
Yeah.
Chapter 12, the Lord's wandering throughout Navadvipa. This chapter mainly describes Sri Gauranga's wandering the streets of Navadvipa. He is discussing scriptures on the bank of the Ganges and his manifestation of various opulences among the best of teachers, learned scholars, and Bhattacharyas of Navadvipa. None could stand before or defeat Nimai in debate. In the company of his disciples, Nimai wandered the streets of Navadvipa like an independent lord. One day, by providence, Nimai met Mukunda on the path and asked him why he stayed away from him. And then Nimai also told Mukunda that if he could not answer his question, he would not leave him alone. Knowing that Nimai had knowledge of only grammar, Mukunda resolved to silence him by asking him questions on Alankar. Nimai, however, pointed out various Alankaric faults while totally breaking Mukunda's poetic talent to pieces. Seeing Nimai's unlimited knowledge, Mukunda was astonished and resolved. If such an intelligent person became a devotee of Krishna, I would never leave his association. On another day, when Nimai met Gadadhar Pandit, he asked him the symptoms of liberation. When Gadadhar told the Lord the symptoms of liberation, according to the conclusion of the Nyaya Shastras, the Lord pointed out various faults. When Gadadhar Pandit said, mitigation of excessive misery is the symptom of liberation. Mitigation of excessive misery is the symptom of liberation. Mahaprabhu, the master of Saraswati, refuted it. Every afternoon, Nimai discussed the Shastras with students on the bank of Ganges. Although the Vaishnavas were greatly pleased to hear the Lord's wonderful explanations of the scriptures, they thought that if such a learned person as Nimai become a devotee of Krishna, then everything would be successful. The devotees prayed in this way, let Nimai have attachment for Krishna. Out of love, some blessed him, saying, let Nimai attain devotion to Krishna. Whenever Nimai saw the devotees headed by Srivasa, he manifested the pastimes of offering obeisances, thus demonstrating by his own behavior that devotional service to Krishna is awakened only by the blessings of devotees. According to their respective mentality and qualification, various people saw the Lord in various ways. Even the Yavanas were attracted to the Lord when they saw him. Nimai thought Nimai taught his students grammar in the Chandi Mandapa Hall. Chandi Mandapa Hall, within the courtyard of the fortunate Mukunda Sanjaya of Navadvipa. One day, the Lord manifested transformations
Kalpana
of
Mataji can read 2 paragraphs, right?
Yes, Avesi is going to read, Prabhu. Yeah, here.
One day the Lord manifested transformations of ecstatic love on the pretext of disorder of winds. Did you? Okay. Being illusioned by Yogamaya, the Lord's friends and relatives who have natural affection for him applied various medicinal oils on the Lord's head. Sometimes the Lord, who always enjoyed pastimes, proudly and loudly disclosed the truth about himself, when by his own sweet will the Lord manifested return to his normal state. Everyone there happily chanted the names of Hari. At the time, the residents of Nadia were only life and soul whose only life and soul was Sri Goda, joyfully distributed clothes and other items to the poor and distressed. After sporting in the waters of the Ganga with his students at noontime, the Lord would return home, worship Lord Krishna, offer water to Tulsi, circumambulate her, and then accept foodstuffs given by Lakshmi Priya. After glancing toward Yoga Nidra, for some time he would again leave for teaching. On his way, he would talk and joke with the residents of Navadvipa. That's 2 paragraphs. One day, on reaching the house of the weaver, Nimai asked for some clothes and accepted without payment. What was given another day, Nimai went to the house of some cowherd men and asked for some yogurt and milk. Addressing the Lord as Mama or uncle, the cowherd men joked with him in various ways and gave him plenty of yogurt and milk free of charge. The Lord also revealed the truth about his own identity on the pretext of joking with them. One day, the Lord accepted various divine perfumes from the perfume merchant. One day, he accepted a garland of various flowers from the florist, and one day he accepted a betel nuts and similar spices from the pan merchant. In this way, the Lord pleased them by accepting their free gifts. Being overwhelmed on seeing the matchless beauty of the Lord, everyone offered him various free items. On another day, when he arrived at the house of the conch merchant, the conch merchant gave Goda Narayana a conch and offered his obeisances. He did not ask any payment in exchange. One day, the Lord went to the house of an astrologer and asked about the details of his previous birth. As soon as the astrologer began to chant the Gopala mantra in order to calculate the Lord's horoscope, he immediately saw various pastimes of Krishna and wonderful forms of the Lord in his meditation. While seeing those wonderful forms, the astrologer opened his eyes and saw Goda Hari before him and then entered into his meditation. But by the influence of the Lord's internal potency, he could not recognize the Lord. Stuck with wonder, he thought, perhaps a demigod or someone expert in mantras has come here in the guise of a brahmana to test me. One day, the Lord went to the house of Sridhara and asked him, though you are serving the husband of Lakshmi, why are you barefoot of food and clothes? Why is your house old and broken? And why are ordinary people who worship Durga and Visahari so materially prosperous? In reply, Siddharari said, a king lives in his palace and eats plateable foodstuffs, and birds living in the nest in a tree eat whatever it finds in various places. Both pass their time in some way. There's no difference in enjoyment and happiness because everyone enjoys his respective fruits of karma. In this way, on the pretext of joking, the Lord disclosed the glories of a devotee and daily obtained banana shoots, banana and banana flowers free of charge from Siddhara. The Lord revealed the truth of his own identity while disclosing the glories of Sridhara. He indicated that he belonged to a family of cowherds and that he was the controller of the Ganga and other energies. Then, as the Lord returned home from the house of Sridhara, his students also returned to their homes after completion of their studies.
Kalpana Mata, do you want to read or?
Yes. हाँ, प्रभु. One day, when the Lord saw the full moon in the sky, he became absorbed in the mood of Sri Vrindavan Chandra. And in that mood, he began to play wonderfully on a flute. No one other than Sachi Devi could hear the sound of that flute. After hearing that sweet sound, Sachi Devi came out of the room and saw Nimai sitting at the door of the Vishnu temple. As Sachi Devi approached, she could no longer hear the sound of the flute, but she saw the moon directly manifest on her son's chest. In this way, Sachi Devi regularly saw unlimited opulence of Lord Gaura. Hari Bol. One day when Srivasa Pandit met the Lord on the pathway, he asked him, Nimai, why are you wasting time by not engaging your mind in the worship of Krishna? What will you gain by studying and teaching day and night? People study only for a purpose of understanding devotional service to Krishna. If that is not achieved, then what is the benefit of such useless education? Therefore, do not waste any more time. You have studied enough. Now, without wasting another moment, begin worshipping Krishna. Hearing these words from the mouth of his devotee, the Lord said, O Pandit, you are a devotee. By your mercy, I will certainly be able to worship Krishna. In conclusion, the author, who is the king of devotee, humbly laments that since he did not take birth during the Lord's scholastic pastime, he was deprived of experiencing that happiness. He therefore begged for the mercy of Gaurachandra or Gaurasundra and pray that in every birth, remembrance of the transcendental pastime of Gaura be ever illuminated in his heart. Wherever Sri Gaurasundra and Nityanand enact their pastimes with their associates, the author's only prayer is to remain with them as their servant. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Continue, Prabhu.
I think we'll stop here. It's already, what time is it? Yeah, 8:52. I mean, we will start reading the verses next week. And now we are moving in a different phase, you will see also. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu normally goes at different places. Instead of, let's say, he asks, he takes. And then sometime in this way, he's giving his blessing in a way. You force somebody to serve you in a way. And maybe you don't need it, but still you take it. And in this way, like Srila Prabhupada, when he was here, somebody was gifting him very nice watch, this and that and that. He does not need all that. But he never refused also. He never refused, he take it. And when somebody else will give him another one, he will take this one, he will give it to somebody else. In this way, there was always an exchange. And, actually there was a pastime like that. There was a devotee, his mother gave him a very nice sweater, like it was in a color, saffron color. And when his mother gave him that, he was thinking, oh, I should give this to Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada, when he gave it, so he waited for some time. Always, every day he looked at that. When Srila Prabhupada will come, and I will give this to Srila Prabhupada. When Srila Prabhupada will come, I will give it to Srila Prabhupada. Finally, Srila Prabhupada came and visited this place, and he present, he waiting to get appropriate time to present it to Prabhupada. And he get the opportunity to present the sweater to Srila Prabhupada. And then what happened is, Srila Prabhupada, he told Srila Prabhupada, my mother gave it to me, but I want to give it to you. Or then Srila Prabhupada said, no, I can't accept this because this was given to you by your mother with love. I cannot accept it. Then he was insisting, please take it. Then Srila Prabhupada said, okay, we'll do an exchange. Prabhupada take out his sweater and he took his and give to him Prabhupada one. But now it's even better. He got a Mahaprasad from Srila Prabhupada. You see, in this way, as I said, maybe Krishna or pure devotees, they don't need what we give to them. But out of love, out of exchange of love, they accept it like this. Anyway, I will continue this next week. And I think next week also, some of you will start your Bhakti Sastri. Have you already got confirmation?
We have not, the original date was April 7th, yes, meaning he was going to create a WhatsApp group and add us to that, but I've not heard from him. But the original date was April 7th.
Okay, maybe you will start to see it, or maybe he's waiting for something. But anyway, and I think, on this call, I think there will be also Kokila Mataji and Shakti.
So we can stop the live thing.